The Biden era is over. And under President Donald Trump, Washington isn't just sending messages anymore. It's drawing red lines with fire. The United States has just delivered a blunt, unmistakable warning to Beijing. Back off from buying oil from Russia and Iran, or face tariffs as high as 500%. Welcome to GeoFrontline, where we decode power, conflict, and the shifting alliances shaping tomorrow's world. Today, we're unpacking a new front in the global standoff. This time, it's economic warfare aimed squarely at China's energy lifeline. The Trump administration, having reinstated a policy of maximum pressure, is now threatening to hammer Chinese and Indian firms that continue to purchase discounted oil from two of America's biggest geopolitical adversaries, Russia and Iran. The numbers are staggering. According to the latest intel from U.S. Treasury and Commerce Departments, Beijing's oil imports from Moscow alone have surged past 2 million barrels per day since early 2024, and Iranian crude, officially sanctioned, has flowed into Chinese refineries under a cloak of gray market shipping tactics. But now, that cloak is being torn off. In a closed-door briefing leaked to several outlets last week, senior U.S. trade officials confirmed that unless China halts or severely scales back its energy partnerships with both Russia and Iran within 30 days, the White House will impose sweeping retaliatory tariffs, some reaching an unprecedented 500% on a range of Chinese industrial goods. The goal: cut off the financing pipelines fueling Putin's war machine in Ukraine and Tehran's nuclear brinkmanship. Let's break this down. First, why now? And second, how serious is the threat? To understand the urgency, we need to rewind. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Western world, especially Europe and North America, moved rapidly to sanction Moscow's energy sector. But that left a vacuum China and India eagerly filled. They bought up Russian crude at discounts as high as 40%, reprocessed it and re-exported it, sometimes even to Europe indirectly. This quiet economic lifeline allowed Moscow to weather the storm of sanctions better than expected. But the new Trump administration sees this as both a betrayal and a strategic failure. Trump's foreign policy doctrine is rooted in economic leverage. And this isn't just about punishing China. It's about denying Russia and Iran the funds to keep their agendas alive. If Beijing keeps buying discounted oil from sanctioned regimes, it allows those regimes to continue to fine Washington without consequence. That's unacceptable to Trump. Now, let's talk numbers. A 500% tariff on Chinese industrial exports, especially in sectors like electronics, machinery, solar panels, and consumer goods, would effectively price those products out of U.S. markets. The U.S. is still China's largest trade partner in raw dollar terms. Losing that pipeline would inflict real pain. But here's the real kicker. This threat also comes as the U.S. prepares to lead a new coalition-wide push to deepen secondary sanctions, not just on oil exporters like Russia and Iran, but on any third-party country or corporation that continues trading with them in defiance of Western sanctions. India, although not directly targeted yet, has been warned behind closed doors that its continued reliance on Russian crude is not sustainable. As of now, Chinese officials have publicly condemned the U.S. threats as unilateral economic coercion and vowed to retaliate through their own countermeasures. State media has already begun spinning the narrative, accusing the U.S. of weaponizing trade and using energy sanctions to suppress the rise of the global South. But the reality is more complicated. Privately, Chinese state oil firms are already reassessing their shipping strategies. Some tankers have diverted. Port data suggests a slow but visible reduction in Iranian oil offloading. Why? Because they know this time, Washington isn't bluffing. Meanwhile, Iranian officials have dismissed the U.S. threat entirely, claiming China is too economically powerful to bow to pressure. Tehran is doubling down on its barter-based oil agreements and working through opaque financing networks using third-party brokers in the Gulf and Southeast Asia. But let's be clear. the Trump administration's move has global implications beyond energy. This economic offensive signals a broader shift in U.S. strategy, the return of economic containment as a foreign policy weapon. In short, if you enable America's adversaries, you pay the price, regardless of where you're located. And that's resonating. European allies, especially the UK, Poland, and the Baltics, have welcomed this U.S. posture, hoping it revives Allied unity on sanctions enforcement. In Brussels, there's growing support for tighter coordination on tracking sanctioned oil flows and cracking down on maritime evasion tactics. Ghost tankers, falsified registries, and eyes spoofing. Back in Asia, however, tensions are rising. The South China Sea remains a flashpoint, and this economic confrontation only hardens positions. Beijing may respond by deepening its military cooperation with Moscow and Tehran, or by accelerating digital decoupling efforts, like rolling out its digital yuan in more oil trade deals. Yet even in the face of that risk, the Trump administration sees no alternative. As one senior official said anonymously, "You don't win a global conflict by letting your enemies stay funded." China doesn't get to play both sides anymore. So what comes next? If China refuses to comply, the tariffs hit by mid-August. That would almost certainly trigger a new wave of global market volatility, a potential WTO challenge, and more tit-for-tat retaliation. But Washington is betting that the cost of backing Moscow and Tehran will eventually outweigh the benefits for Beijing. For India, things are more delicate. While Delhi continues to import Russian crude, it has also drawn closer to Washington in security, defense, and semiconductor cooperation. Indian leaders are quietly seeking a middle path, reducing purchases without formally abandoning their energy partnerships. But time is running out. This moment is a test, not just for United States resolve, but for the global order. Can economic tools be used to stop wars and pressure rogue regimes? Or will it backfire, forcing the world further into rival camps? One thing's certain: the age of soft sanctions is over. Under President Trump, the U.S. is wielding its economic arsenal like a warhammer, and the first major swing is headed straight for Beijing. Thanks for watching GeoFrontline. Subscribe for real-time updates, strategic deep dives, and insider-level analysis on the world's biggest conflicts. Until next time, stay informed, stay alert, and stay one step ahead.